So we are back on this now. This is part 2 from a few weeks ago. We were talking about text messages. Remember, we had the whole thing on the pod about how many group threads are you in. He starts and he's like, let me close these tabs out. You know what I'm saying? Before we go on air. And then he goes 200 text messages, unread text messages. Now, y'all know he's all about just the AI. The AI just breaks it down and summarizes what the whole thread is about. So then he went right to what he said a few weeks ago. Oh, you know, it's a work thread, and that's 30 people. Okay, great. So you go 200 minus 30 is 170. You have 170 missed text messages, and then you go to what did you just say right before we press record? Who is it? What county is this?
So my county gives me notifications when there's certain, avoid this road, high, traffic or accident, etc. So, AI told me what's up. Like, hey, E, don't go this way. Bet. And
why wouldn't you open up the text messages, though? Just clear them out.
So I don't need to do that. I don't need to press that button.
So, Rhodesia, what would you characterize that? What is that? Is that defiance? Is that laziness? Because nobody wants to see a number on their phone. I talk about people all the time. Like, I got 220 emails, unread emails, and that's pretty good. Actually, on my phone, it says 191. So there's evidently 40 emails that is in between my Mac and my iPhone because I just had it up and it said 220. And that bothers me, right? But I got a 6 here, I got a 3 here, I got a 7 there, and the 7 is actually text messages. But that's like the bane of my existence. I couldn't imagine seeing 220 in the text messages. So what would you say that is?
100% going to call that lazy. In the same token, I have 0 emails. I have 0 notifications of text messages. And I'm also the lazy person on the other side of the spectrum because I will look at them and just not respond. Or I respond in my head and then actually don't hit send or actually don't respond. So both of us is just lazy. I actually went through the effort because I don't want to see that red, like the red sticking out the bubble. Ugh, that gets me. He just say, F it.
Yeah, see, I feel bad that, I have these notifications. If I got to look at it, I feel like I have to reply.
Just come on this side of the world. No, you don't. You just open it up.
So see, that's the thing. So I technically don't know what's been said.
So you can't reply, right? So you feel okay about?
Yeah, we
playing games with your mind, man.
We had a group chat with the friend group, and AI told me like, "Hey, E, they're being real disrespectful to you right now in this chat."
That's what your AI said.
Proceed with caution.
They're being real disrespectful to you.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna leave. My anxiety already is here. I'm gonna ignore this chat for the day, right?
And he did say that. My phone no, but you responded. No, you opened that up and responded and put in there. AI tells me this chat is disrespectful.
Who looks out for me, man? Yeah, I had to know who looks out for me and my well-being.
Your mental health, huh?
My serious.
Oh my God, man, that's funny. And it was disrespectful, but it was like from a loving, just calling you out. It wasn't like disrespect. All right, so of course we wasn't starting with that. But I do have something that's wrestling. This always happens right before we start. What is the most fat ass thing that you guys have done? Where you look back at it and you like, damn, I was a fat ass when I did that.
I feel like it would have to be something with eating while sleeping, maybe waking up with the food still in your mouth and then just finish chewing it and swallowing it. I would probably say that'd probably be the most fat ass thing because I don't really like eat sweets and say, oh, when I had that third slice of cake. No, it would probably just be something to do with me eating and sleeping and keep on going while I'm sleeping and eating.
That's something right there. I don't think I can top that. I have a lot of fat ass moments because I diet a lot during the week, but then I go on a binge for maybe like an hour or so, and it happens pretty regularly, so, to the point that it's not even a binge anymore. It's just something that's going to happen. So I want to say like every Friday. Mm-hmm. So I guess this is fat assery, right? Because I'm getting off work, and I buy the family groceries, and they have some what's the Chicago popcorn company that's really famous? Is it Gordon's? I can't think of the name. Is it Gordon's popcorn? Is that the popular one out there?
Oh no, it's I actually
starts with a G.
I picked some up Friday. I was downtown Chicago. and I could not
we
grab
went
some.
we went and visited you guys a couple years ago. Down on the Magnificent Mile, right? It was down the corner.
No, it's a blue tin. Rhodesia, what's the popcorn?
Garrett's.
So they sell Garrett's popcorn here in Georgia off the shelf.
Oh, sweet.
So caramel popcorn is my favorite, right?
Okay.
So I hadn't eaten all day at this point. I think I had been just rolling on Sprite and caffeine all day long, right? I'm in the car.
Sprite and caffeine.
I'm in the car. I'll pop open this caramel popcorn. It's about a 30-minute drive home. I smashed the whole bag.
You smoked it.
By the time I got in the house. But this happens almost every goddamn week. So at this point,
that's fat ass.
It's a trend, right?
I mean, maybe that's fat ass for you. But I wouldn't say like nobody would call you a fat ass. They'd be like, man, you really like that popcorn or you were really hungry. It wouldn't be like, oh, you're a fat ass. Now, if you said you did that like after like a whole meal and you had dessert and then you put the smash down in the big bucket, you'd be like, all right, that's kind of like fat ass. You know what I'm saying? I asked that because right before we started this pod, set my stuff up, putting the microphone on the table, and I'm walking to get my light, and I see a piece of food on our theater seats we have down here.
No.
Now, we had Texas Roadhouse.
No.
Shout out to Texas Roadhouse.
No.
On Saturday night. And I had the little boneless chicken, fingers or whatever you call them. And I had potato skins.
No.
So I sat at the theater seats. We was watching UFC. My guy E watched UFC. He was into it. Hopefully we can get to it sometime, even if it's not this week. I was excited to hear that though. I've been trying to get E to watch UFC for years. He's into it. So I look and I'm like, yo, that's a piece of bacon bit. I put the smash down on that joint, man.
And I'm the one who had
as soon as I popped in my mouth, right? Because I chewed it just to make sure. Because I'm like, what if this wasn't a piece of bacon bit? Now we're in a whole different situation. So I made sure I got the taste of it. And I was like, okay, yeah, we lit. And then I was like, what did I just do?
My God.
That was some fat ass shit.
Thanks for being vulnerable.
So that was where that came from.
I would not.
We always ask the freaks.
I would have never ever done that.
I would love to hear y'all fat ass stories. What is the most fat ass thing you done? And we're going to come back to this pod and we're going to share the best stories. We got to clip this up too everywhere. Because I want to hear everybody's. And shout out to everybody who found us through TikTok. Got some good momentum going on TikTok. So shout out to everybody. Interestingly enough, so Rhodesia clipped up the clip where we were talking about early favorites to win next year's Rumble. The majority of responses on TikTok was Liv Morgan for the women and CM Punk for the men. Punk, I get. I was surprised by Liv Morgan. I was very surprised by Liv Morgan. And a lot of people were just like, it's her time to finally win a Royal Rumble. And you get it, injury, you can do that, but not that I think that she's past winning the Rumble, but I just feel like she had such an incredible title run. I don't know if it's time to have her be put right back in the title hunt as soon as she gets back. But that answer was kind of surprising because it was like the majority. I mean, when I say majority, I'm not talking 60-40. I'm talking like 90-10. I can't think of a couple people said they liked the Jade idea. I don't think there was anybody else but Liv that people remarked to. So I thought that was something I just wanted to bring to the top of the pod because I thought that was kind of interesting.
I think that
Liv's always been a people champ though.
Mm-hmm.
She's been she's had the post of the people for probably want to say a good 5 years now. Like, right? And like this run that she's had with the Judgment Day has really brought her character out. Her promo work has been phenomenal. She's always been, entertaining in the ring. And, it helps that she has an awesome finisher too. I mean, she has all the makeup of a great superstar for WWE, right?
I agree, yeah.
I can't disagree on the Liv part, but I would think that ship has sailed for Punk.
Well, because he got screwed And he came out in his promo last week and said that this is not the end of his, chase to be a champion. He had a taste of it, like he really wants it. So that story's not going away per se.
I get that, but I just can't see him being the winner of the Rumble in 2026.
Damn. All right. But you a hater anyway, upon. Well, why we even ask you? Let's move on to something you can give your breakdown on.
Breakdown.
And shout out to Eric. Shot me a DM yesterday during Raw. Eric asked a very simple question.
Okay.
I gave him a very simple answer.
Okay.
Eric asked, are we looking at Back in Ass 2.0?
But we got.
And I think we are looking at, actually, I don't think, I know we are looking at Back in Ass 2.0 with an upgraded
I get what
Roxanne
you're saying.
Perez. That's what I am talking about, Eric. I had it already written down to talk about it. When I saw that message, I'm like, great minds think alike, brother. Back in Ass is back. And Back in Ass is better than ever.
I thought y'all were talking about just chronological, like volume 2. No, you mean a completely innovative
Yes, we have
rebranding of Back in
upgraded.
Ass.
Raquel's out there actually working matches, looking good in the ring.
Looking good. Mm-hmm.
Roxanne gonna do what she gonna do. Could be an upgrade in both back and ass. Super back and ass.
I'm bowing out of this.
As a serious
Smacking ass.
journalist myself, I
Okay.
refuse to objectify women on this
Whacking
podcast.
ass.
So I will refrain from commenting further.
Ass. No, it'd be more like back and rocks, ass, ras. I don't know. We're gonna figure that out. But no, we coming up with this. We got it. And what do you mean objectifying women? Hey man, I gotta, hey, you want to talk about text messages? We can go right to the brother. We can go right text message from earlier today. You talk about you don't want to objectify women.
Here's the thing.
Look.
Mental health is a subject for another day. Because sometimes throughout the course of the day, I struggle myself with mental health. And I just wanted to bring awareness to everyone out there struggling with the mental health. And sometimes it might be as mad as it is, you know what I'm saying? But, look, I'm trying to work on myself.
Mechanism.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on myself. Right. I'm trying to get better every day.
Ain't nothing wrong with it, man.
You
were definitely coping earlier today. So that's all I'm saying, man. Look, let's get to this thing, y'all. We already brought up a few things.
But we didn't cuss. We did not cuss in the first 7 minutes.
3 minutes was, I said
what?
hell.
That shouldn't count for.
No, I said ass. Remember I said, what's your fat ass moment?
Oh,
that was 3 minutes in. Now, I don't know if it's just the 4-letter words or 3-letter words that knocks us down.
But it really wasn't ass. It was just fat ass. It was like an adjective to something.
But here's the thing. If the freaks do their part in this whole movement, tell a friend, tell a family member, we won't have to care about the algorithm.
That is true.
Because y'all going to tell everybody you know.
That is true.
TFW podcast is the best podcast out, best kept secret in wrestling podcast. And it ain't going to matter. Right? Then we can hit it up hard in the first 30 seconds. Do it quick. With episode 213 of this here beautiful platform. That's Freakin' Wrestling. You guys know who we are already. I am your favorite talker out in these streets, Matt, joined by that beautiful woman over there, Rhodesia, joined by the astute man himself, Mr. 10 Inches, Eshaun. So what we need to bring up, Rhodesia was like, well, we got to start with Naomi and
just a congratulations
Jimmy.
to them.
And I'm like, that's A block. Right, I get that, but I want to talk a little bit about it. I'm like, but we can't do A block with that. We brought it up last week a little bit. We said we thought maybe it was pregnancy. We'll talk about it, of course, but so happy for them, which is so cool to see. But our A block today, and we didn't talk about this.
Yeah, because I'm wondering what this is.
But it has to be. It has to be Chris Jericho potentially wanting to go back to WWE. On the surface, this is not that big of a deal. I think we all three can agree we have had our fill with AEW and Chris Jericho. He did everything plus more of what he needed to do to start that company, and he has some tremendous storylines and times. But the last 12 months or so, Jericho being on TV was not it. It was not it at all. The learning tree bombed significantly. It felt like he was trying to be funny and use the negativity against him online, but put it on TV. It didn't work at all whatsoever. So you may look at it and say, hey, Chris Jericho's washed up. He just needs to go retire. But there is a world where he goes to WWE and we get a significant, proper Chris Jericho WWE send-off for him. I'm sure he would be retired after that. This came from just a few days ago. There was an Instagram post, and it says Chris Jericho's AEW deal ends December 2025. He's open to a WWE return depending on the situation. And he actually liked that Instagram post. So, very simple, ladies and gentlemen. Would you be open and would you want to see Chris Jericho back in WWE? Ooh-wee.
If I may say, and this is not ageism, because it's not that, I just don't think the WWE fan base may not welcome another legend coming back at this moment, just because we are having a lot of people at the end of their career on TV. I don't think his welcome will be as much as it should be. Like, in all fairness, what it should be. Of course, like you just mentioned before, Jericho, lately, whatever. Like, the crickets, that's me just being disrespectful. I'm not going to take away from his actual career. I just don't think that the fans will welcome him with open arms just because he's Jericho, because we've coming off of a year of these people. And again, I'm still perplexed with Alexa Bliss. Not saying that she's at the end of her career, but I'm still perplexed on that. I just don't think that the WWE fan base can handle another legend coming back right now, being on, I would presume, on top or at the top B plus to A card character. I just don't think it's room for him either. So unless he's willing to come back to be the person who takes the pin all the time, I don't know. I don't really see that happening. And then I also probably don't see me caring as a fandom, in my fandom, of his return.
You know, I actually was talking to one of my young guys about this very topic the other day. I'm not sure if he saw a report. He's not really in tune with wrestling like that. He seems very casual with viewing the product. But he actually brought this up to me about Chris Jericho possibly coming back, and he seemed to be excited about it. And I think that the audience, especially the audience right now, like, they're into almost everything, almost. And I think if WWE makes it a big deal, they're taking it as a big deal. Chris Jericho is a big star for the company, has been. He's with the company. If you think about Chris Jericho, he's been around for 55 years in wrestling, or whatever the case may be. But I would probably say his most notable run has been in WWE. Like, his biggest moments have probably been in WWE. So I think from a fan perspective, they would love to see him coming back. I think that on top of everything that's happening, right, with the Brocks coming back, with the John Cena retirement tour, and whatever else they have going on right now, I think that audience is always ready for another moment. And if he were to come back, I think that'd be another moment. I think it'd be a crowd pop, because that crowd was ready for that. Those fans, they're ready to buy in. Like, when they show up to the show, like, they're ready to cheer. They're ready to do whatever it is, right? We saw, Naomi, who's been doing some of the best character work of her life. Like, they were with her at every step, right? If Chris Jericho were to reappear in any kind of forum in that moment, they'll be right there with him. Now, as far as how valuable he'll be long term, that's debatable. Look, Chris looks every bit of 50-ish or whatever he is. Like, right, he wrestles every bit of 50-ish or whatever he is, right? So I'm not sure how much he has in the tank when you compare to some of the guys that can really go. But if you want to have a moment, if they have some things planned for him, I don't think it'll be on on a long-term basis. I think you kind of have to pick his spots and work with certain people. I think it'll be just fine. But I think if you were to go back, it'd be pretty cool. I do think he's run his course at AEW. And I think that Chris Jericho is very smart to where he kind of knows, like, hey, you know what? I've done everything I could do here. There's probably a best option for me is to retire where I made my biggest name.
And that's for me, that's what it is. For me, it's do I care about seeing Chris Jericho when that moment, if it's unexpected, which I'm sure it would be, when Break the Walls Down hits, we all would react, right? Wherever they are, the crowd is going to react something crazy for Jericho. Hell, we saw the pop that Goldberg got, and Goldberg didn't have nearly the run in WWE like Jericho did. So
absolutely not.
Yes. So Rhodesia, to your point about, fans not caring, no, I think that is completely off. I think they would absolutely care. Of course, for us, it was, do we care? We have been pretty hard on Jericho. Because of just how bad some of the stuff has been, man.
I still beg to differ,
it's been really bad. So you say, okay, you beg to differ that all of his stuff was great in AEW?
No, I beg to differ on the fans welcoming Jericho. Outside of that initial break the walls down, of course, we're all going to go pop and we're all going to go crazy. But when we're already talking about, and we sit up here talking about how the booking at the top for the men has been kind of all over the place, now you're about to introduce him into that too. So then what are we doing as far as for the younger talent to get them up there and bringing people up? They got rid of Karrion Kross. So we can get rid of Karrion Kross and not comparing the talent themselves, but I'm just talking about like what value is left in them. Unless you're saying you're bringing Jericho back for money, then I can't argue with that because they're a business and they're going to make money. But if you're talking about
everything AEW does is for money,
well, then there you go. So then my point is
the money is just the point of the business to make money.
I don't mind Jericho coming back to retire as far as where he made his name famous for. I just don't think that I would be welcoming of him right now, just in the current landscape of the amount of time I get to watch.
No, you may not. And that is that's why I brought it up. We're the hardcores, because you look at it on one end and say, oh, it'd be really cool for Jericho and KO to do something again together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it'd be really cool if we could get one last Orton Jericho feud or something like that. But then the opposite side of that is the other thing that we see and we know of, and it's like, but oh shit, we may have to get Jericho and take your pick of any young talent. Carmelo Hayes. And what's that going to look like? Is he going to drain everything from Carmelo and not give him what he needs to give him? Oh, we got to deal with a Jericho and Braun Breaker situation where it's like, man, I'm not really sure if Braun's going to get out of this what he should. So like it could be both ways. For me, I am absolutely there for the pop. I would be there just for the moment of Jericho coming back, but I don't have any dream matches personally. And I would absolutely be let's wait and see how this plays out.
That's the one thing when we have these conversations, especially with us being the type of fans that we are, when we talk about what will work and what wouldn't work for like the majority of the WWE audience. Like, it's hard. Like, so my personal taste, I'm not a Chris Jericho guy. It doesn't matter what he does in the future with any company. I don't think I'll be that into it. I might be surprised because, you go to WWE, it's a different editing. Like, it's a different creative.
Yep.
The booking for the championships has been kind of wonky, but for the most part, the shows are still pretty entertaining for the most part. At least Raw has been. I checked out SmackDown. That was kind of cool too. For the most part, I would give WWE creative overall a passing grade. I don't think they're failing at all. And I think that you bring Chris Jericho, who's creative, into that atmosphere. I think he'll do something, probably entertaining. I don't think he's going to be messing with a lot of the younger guys. I think he's going to be more, right? He's what John Cena's doing, right? He's working certain guys, certain programs, probably with people he think he can have an entertaining program with, right? He might not be sitting there trying to elevate dudes on the way out. Right. Ultimately, he probably will. He's going to probably lose more of the matches he's going to be in than he did not. Like, right. But at the end of the day, we got to think about like, all right, I don't like him. Like this Triple H said this, like, hey, I'm not into a lot of things. Right. If I did everything that I'm into, you would have to have the stuff you see on TV wouldn't be on TV. So I think that we have to understand that when we talk about wrestling, is that our taste ain't everybody else's taste.
Right.
Like, we have a very different, studied, particular taste of what we like and we don't like. And a lot of people who watch the program, they're not like, look, we seriously date wrestling. Like, we're married to wrestling. Like, we're married to wrestling with like 5, 6, 7 kids. We've been married to it for like 30, 40 years. Have people who are watching wrestling, they just date. They just want to kiss.
Yeah.
They want to grab a little booty. You know what I'm saying? Then they good. They out. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's it. They're not here for the long run. They're not kissing you. They're not cuddling with you and spooning with you. And the next night, they getting what they want and they getting out. That's it. And so when we talk about what works, we got to keep that in mind. Like, right? Everybody trying to spoon wrestling, y'all.
We shall see. It's gonna be very interesting. I'm sure Tony Khan, I don't think he probably wants to let Jericho go. I mean, he knows how big of a name. I think he really looks at what they did in the beginning. I think he's loyal. Of course, we know he's kind of loyal, maybe loyal to a fault too at some point. I know you got something you want to bring up about contracts.
Hey, real question. So let me ask you right before you go to the fork, I'm going to forget. So if you're Chris Jericho, right, you know that, you've been there with Tony. Like, right, you tipped him off when was going on backstage. Punk, he's probably been a confidant to him. He's been there since the beginning. Like, right, Chris Jericho going to AEW was a huge deal, and he's a very big part, especially in that first year.
Yep.
Like, right, you probably paid pretty well. Like, what would you do if you're Chris Jericho, or if you were that type of talent, right? That type of talent, you probably don't have many years left. Like, right?
Yep.
Do you retire with AEW like Sting did? Or do you go back to WWE and retire there? What would you do?
Personally, if I was Jericho, you're saying, right? Accolades and like, I'm Chris Jericho. I am his career and all that.
Or you're Matt with a similar pedigree and accomplishments, right? In a similar situation.
So
think of it that way. What would you do?
If I'm me,
and you have the same credentials, same situation, what would you do?
If I'm me, I'm going back to WWE to finish up. If I'm Jericho, I go back to WWE to finish up. And it has nothing to do with AEW in terms of being like less than. It has more to do with there's nothing for him to do in AEW. Like, if he comes out, or Tony Khan comes out in December, says Jericho is signing a 12-month extension. This is going to be his, last year in professional wrestling. That could be a hook of, oh man, we got to watch Jericho. We got to sing Judas because it's be the last time we see him something similar to what maybe Jericho or Cena's doing. But if we don't get that and we just get Chris Jericho has re-signed to AEW, we are like, are you kidding me? The three of us, I think the majority of AEW fans would be like, are you kidding me? There's nothing more for you to do here. Jericho, outside of anything, is extremely smart when it comes to you said earlier, picking your spots, knowing what's working, knowing what's not working. And I think for him, we've done everything we could together in AEW. I know I'm not popular. I don't even think he's now generating like eyeballs and ratings. Like, I don't think anybody is tuning in really to see Chris Jericho. So
he's not the demo guy anymore?
Not anymore. So the bloom is gone off that rose. Okay. Now let me go to WWE and finish up where there's some exciting fresh things. I got some ideas that maybe we couldn't do on AEW either because they don't know me as the Ayatollah of rock and roll, or they don't know me as Y2J, all that kind of stuff. I got some ideas. I know Triple H would be open to it. I got some guys there that are high level workers that we probably can get some really good things out of and make the stadium shows, Rumble, SummerSlam, WrestleMania kind of a big deal. Do I want him toward the top of the card, like challenging for titles? No, I don't want to see that. But I personally, if I'm watching both AEW and watching both WWE, and I got to put Jericho somewhere, either one or the other, it's going to be WWE.
So then you would agree that he should not be in the main event picture. And do you think he's going to demand that or request that?
And that's what you got to talk about, right? That's
no,
what
if I'm H, hey kid.
You gonna call him kid?
We're talking about it, kid.
That's passive aggressive. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I don't expect him to be starting every single show, right? But he would be in that. What's a perfect example of where he would be? Maybe he would be where like Edge was his last run in WWE.
You know where he would be? In the mid card, where he belongs, right?
And I'm okay. I'm okay with
upper mid card. We're not talking mid card. Like, yeah, we're talking. No, man, you can't put Chris Jericho in the mid card. That's not happening. If Triple H tries to pull that off and tell him, you're going third every night. Like,
so for instance, right?
You're
so
working a
think
return
about,
at Omos. That's not working, man.
Think about like my boy Finn Balor right now, right? Where would you say he's slotted right now?
Finn is in the mid card, smack dab in the mid card.
Yeah, I would say
But
right
when you watch Raw and how he's booked throughout the show, do you get an overall feel like, oh, this dude is just a mid card guy? Like, he's booked pretty prominently on the show.
He is,
right? So you think about Chris Jericho can be slotted in a certain type of way to where he's booked in a prominent way, but he's not challenging for the titles. Because right after you get past the intro and like the him being back, right? The ring work ain't gonna be there. Like, right, when he's standing side by side with some of these top guys, it's gonna be a little iffy. I just don't think he's gonna be. I don't think he's a top guy at this point in his career.
That's crazy.
But can he be an important guy on a show that give you great entertainment value? Absolutely.
To me, he's upper mid card, right? He was never outside of when he had the horrible heel run with Stephanie back when was it WrestleMania 18? Right? That kind of that run. I think so. But he was never really a main event guy in WWE. To your point, he was always big, but we can't really think of many major pay-per-views where he was on top going last. So I don't expect him now to trump everything he's done in his career in WWE and now be at a higher angle than where he was back then. But you bring up Finn, and the difference between, and that's a good comparison, the difference between what Jericho would be and what Finn is right now is Finn's in the group. In Judgment Day, whoever you put in Judgment Day is going to be slighted higher than what they are by themselves. Maybe outside of Dominic.
Yeah.
Right, but he wouldn't be a main eventer. But I think everybody gets a little bit of juice because of what Judgment Day was and what Damien helped make that and what Rhea. So they're still getting off of some of that sweat equity as well with what that used to be. But that would be the difference for me, because if you took Finn out of that group, he is not getting as many segments and being as important on Raw. And I think that's fine. I think he is exactly where he should be at this stage of his career. And that's not a knock at all.
To be clear, we started our, what you call it, block A on the possible return of Jericho to WWE. That was more important than Naomi and Jimmy.
100%.
Oh God.
Naomi's going to be gone for 9+ months.
Hey, you know what, Rhodesia? I'm actually going to agree.
Like, yo, we had Triple Mania. We done had little
you watched
people
Triple Mania?
fighting.
I can't wait to hear you break it down.
What I would break down is how Omos knocked the shit out of Lil Man. That's all I got for you.
200 million views or something like that, right?
That's all I got for you.
I talk about it all the time. I always say moments is better than matches. 200 million people ain't tuning in to watch a match.
That's true.
200 million people tuning in to see Omos kick the shit out of my little guy.
Hey, let's cleanse the palate though. I'm with Rick. Hey, it's always a good time when we get together and we talk anyway. But I want to cleanse the palate to get this Chris Jericho off of me a little bit. Let's talk about Naomi.
Damn, y'all hate Chris Jericho. That's crazy. I hope he comes back now, and I hope he's on top on every single show just for that.
That's okay, because here's the great thing about my Roku remote. You got a fast forward. Yeah, just like John Cena. Boop, 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 boop.
Naomi. Rumors was true, or what we thought, because there really were no rumors. We just put 2 and 2 together. But it happened.
Yeah.
I felt, of course, for me it was bittersweet. So I got spoiled because we watched Raw late every single Monday night. So I cut it on, and I cut it on at the exact moment the belt is in the middle of the ring. That's the moment I cut it on. I don't know what time it was when that happened, like 9:36, maybe like Central Time. And I was like, oh, well, I got my answer. Like, so I know what happened now. So we watched the rest of the show, or from the beginning and then watched. I wanted to ask you guys, of course, for one, like, awesome congrats to Trinity, to Jimmy. That's fantastic. She talked about having issues getting pregnant before. I mean, once again, like, love wins, right? Love wins.
Always.
But I wanted to ask you guys your thoughts on her promo.
I thought it was pretty, I don't want to throw the word genius around, but I thought it was very good. I think part of it, by her going into character as much as she could. How incredible is that? That just is just a testament to how she's been just this year alone in her new Pursuer Caution character. She's emotional. Hell, she even mentioned that she's an emotional wreck. But she's emotional and she's announcing something that's incredibly private. So you're going to get wrapped up in emotion and it's going to be real to you in that moment. And she did snap herself back into it and went back in character. I thought it was a fantastic promo. I thought that she spoke from the heart, and when she was ready in her promo, she was able to switch back into character and then au revoir. But I loved it. 2 thumbs up on her promo.
Yeah, Sam, I'm gonna miss her on character. She has a unique character overall, right? Because her character is very tongue in cheek. Like she's in character, but she steps out of character. Like, right? Like she'll say thank you, like, hey, you deserve it. She'll thank you, and then she'll switch and go back into character. It's almost like the fans are already like, all right, hey, we know you got a shtick, and we're gonna buy into it. Like, right? But we still love you. Like, right? You're a fan favorite, but you're still heel, right? It's like a very interesting dynamic that only I think she can kind of pull off, to where her character is a heel, but she's not really a heel in real life, and the fans buy into it anyway. I thought her character was just amazing. Like like a lot of the liners, the one-liners she had, like the bloodline still going. You know what I'm saying? Like the laugh.
Yeah.
Hey, it's funny. I don't know if you guys actually saw the interview on Stephanie McMahon's YouTube show. I'm not sure it was YouTube show or not, but I saw it on actual YouTube. But prior to this announcement, Jimmy and her were on there, and Jimmy was saying that, like, yo, like this character she's doing, that laugh, she does that at home. like she was talking about, he was saying how like she'll be at home reading some of these Twitter comments, and she's going crazy. Like she's like cutting promos like at the people, through her phone, and like she'll read something that someone says, and she'll do that laugh. So he was saying that like this is the real Naomi that I see all day long, right? So he was saying how he enjoys that she's having fun with her character and she's having a blast. And then fast forward to this, when I think that's probably why Stephanie did a follow-up show to that interview, because it seemed like it was a really good interview. I only watched maybe like a good 15 minutes of it, but just seeing the like the loving relationship between Jimmy and Naomi and the announcement, I think it's beautiful. I'll say this as a person that's gone through this, if you've gone through problems conceiving in the past, sometimes you get kind of like, look, I don't want to announce this real quick. I want to make sure everything's good before I go around telling everybody what's going on with me and and our bodies, etc. Because I don't have to go back to Untitled and have to go back and have the same conversations, things of that nature. So I would probably say this is probably very early into her pregnancy. And
7 weeks.
So to come out with to have to tell the world, is very gutsy.
Right.
And I hope for a safe delivery for her and the baby. I think this is just great for her and the family. Really ecstatic, and I can't wait to see what she does when she comes back. Right.
And that's what she kind of talked about a little bit in the promo. Keep it warm for me, that whole thing. So when I saw her come out, and of course she's emotional, so I could see somebody going either way with this. I could see somebody saying they loved the promo, they thought it was tremendous. I can also see in somebody complaining about it and saying it wasn't what it should have been. I was almost close to being that until I had to take a step back and say, okay, would you rather her just come out, be herself, talk to the fans as a person, and say, I'm pregnant, I got to give the title up, still gets the accolades, you deserve it, all that kind of stuff, right? Or would I rather have her do that, but then still get her shit in and still leave the fans wanting more of this character they've fallen in love with, that Naomi has done the best job at in the last, I don't know how long it's been, a year? It hasn't been that long yet, right? Since she's turned heel.
I think it was late fall, right? And Jay, that was what?
Yeah, correct. Because Jay returned at Elimination Chamber. So I think it was maybe like November or something like that. And it's number 2. Right. So when I kind of took myself away from that, like, hey, it's okay for her to show the character, because you can look at it and say, all right, this is too unbelievable. That was a little bit of my issue, but I guess at this point, nothing is unbelievable if they have a show completely telling us about the scripts and all that kind of stuff. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was glad she got her chance to go out there and do it the way she wanted to do it. I love that she kicked Adam Pearce out of the ring. And it was the way she did it, right? Because in no other way would it make sense for him to be in the ring with her at that point. It's not about him. It's about her being able to get her shit off, because once again, she has done some of the best character work of anybody we've seen in a long time. And the reason why it's such a great character is because we know that's not what she has been. If you were to write out, okay, what is the complete polar opposite of what the character Naomi used to be in WWE, you don't come up with this.
Right.
And you are saying, what is the complete opposite? So for us all to know what she was and how she has acted and been backstage and everything we've seen her on, to be able to get this off that she's being able to do weekly, and we love it. Yeah, you got to get some of that. You got to put some of that in there. So yeah, so like to you guys' point, congrats. God bless. I hope everything turns out right with them. Everything we've ever heard, of course, of her and Jimmy is just how great they are. I think we've met Naomi
separately.
Both.
Yep.
Yeah,
But separately,
a few times.
yeah.
Just cool ass people, man. So God bless. Hope everything turns out well. She did work SummerSlam pregnant. Rhodesia asked me doing Raw, do I think that she knew she was pregnant and she still worked SummerSlam knowing the kind of match? I'm like, absolutely not. And she came out and said that they found out she was pregnant last Sunday. And then, of course, Monday shows up to Raw. She lets them know, cancel the match, and here we are now. She said that and the reason why she took her pregnancy test was because she was feeling funny. She was feeling a little off. And that's what it was. So
that parasite inside of you.
She worked that.
Let me take all your
that
stuff.
classic triple
all your
threat match.
stuff.
But that's why she won. It was like a tag team match.
It
2
really
on
was.
1 versus 1.
You might be right.
You know what I'm saying? I did love the tweet that Becky Lynch sent out where she says how irresponsible to be to get pregnant while you're a champion. So I thought that was tremendous.
Hey, you know what
great.
though, Matt? I'll say this though about her being in character. You know, a lot of times when I'm speaking in front of an audience, I'll change my voice dramatically. And a lot of times the audience doesn't know that this is my regular speaking voice. And I do it because it allows me to concentrate on the actual character, and I get out of my head. Right? I get out of my emotions. I get out of being nervous. I get out of me being shy in front of an audience. I'm just focusing on articulating myself in this character in this moment, right? For Naomi, who probably was a bundle of nerves going in front of the crowd to talk about something so personal, it probably was freeing for her to speak in this character and go through her thing. So for her being a character probably might have been freeing and allow her to be confident in the moment and do what she needed to do. I think it was fantastic.
I was actually talking to somebody today, and he didn't know I was as much into wrestling as I was. He brought it up to me. He had something. He watched Raw last night, and like he's super duper casual, right? He's like one of those people that kind of tune in for the shits and giggles, and because these guys and girls are incredible, kind of like that. He's that fan, and he's like, "You watch wrestling, right?" And I, we went through the whole thing, and then he goes, "Man, last night it was something about the main event." He's like, he loved the street fight. He thought it was awesome, and Bronson Reed got involved, and Roman got involved, and then I kind of started nerding out a little bit with him, and I was just like, but think about everything that goes into that. Like, okay, you're gonna work a 12-minute match. You still got to be able to catch a 230-pound, 40-pound guy 15 minutes in. You can't blow up. You got to know your spots, all that. Oh, and you're in character. So to your point, E, about the character piece, that was really cool just to watch her go from Trinity, right, where she's overwhelmed with emotion, she's crying, and then to be able to flip it right to Naomi, right? And you see it in real time.
Yep.
It's like, wow, that's kind of cool, but kind of scary at the same time too. For anybody to where you have to just like completely lock in on that, whatever that looks like. You got to block everything out and just do that piece. I mean, it's cool to see, right? And like, of course, they're at the top of their game doing it because they're doing it on national television. But just all just super cool, very very cool. Rhodesia, you brought up earlier, you brought up Karrion Kross's name. So I guess week 2 of is it a work or is it not a work? I do think at this point, Sean Ross Sapp knows Karrion Kross or Scarlett on a very friendly or personal basis because he's really over the last few days been harping on how this is not a work on X.
Is
and yeah, like, and like, and there's been a few people I know who he's like really cool with, and I can tell. But he's really been harping on this is not a work, this is not a work, this is not a work, this is not a work. They were just announced, so they've been announced for a couple signings, and people were taking that as, oh, see, this is not a work. And for me, I'm like, well, they can do a signing. I want to see their first match. I want to see when their match is announced. They got a match announced, I think November 12th or something like that. November 12th, November 8th, November 16th. I think it's in Jersey. They've signed on for an independent show. I am now going to pull it off of it being a work. Still, gun to my head, you ask me if it's a work or a shoot. I would still have to go with a work because I just can't believe WWE would not re-sign Karrion Kross right now, which is the height of his popularity in WWE. You let him walk, and he wants to be there, and he's told you he wants to be there, and you couldn't figure out a deal. That is just extremely hard for me to be able to process that in this day and age, that could happen.
I think if I had to say that this is not a work, I would probably say it's not a work. But back to what I said last week or the week before, until we see him show up on AEW television, TNA television with an asterisk, I'm going to have to believe that it's a work. I have to stand 10 toes down on that. But maybe deep down inside, I probably could say that, yep, it's over. It is over. And this is shoot. He's no longer, and there's no intentions on coming back to WWE.
Hey, Ross said it's not a work. So, I'm gonna go off that because look, I hope he lands where he wants to land.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I hope he lands where he wants to land. I hope it all works out. Right? If this is a work, I hope it all works out and then blows him up to a bigger stage. But if you think about, I talked about it last time we talked about this Kross situation. If you think about the history of Kross in the company since he's been re-signed on the second go round, he hasn't been booked that great. He hasn't been used that much. They've given him a couple of things and nothing really kind of set. It makes you wonder, like, what plans do they really have for him? What do they really see in him? Like, right? And if you looked at the way he's been booked over the past couple of years, it doesn't seem like much. Right? When I think I listened to part of the interview, and I think he said that they didn't offer Scarlett a deal at all.
Yep.
That would make sense.
They said once we take care of you, we'll get to her.
Right. Well, he had to inquire.
Yep.
Like, hey, what's up with my wife? He's like, oh, well, once we take care of you, we'll get to her.
That just doesn't sound right. That's what I'm saying. Like, so if we have never heard of anybody who has done contract negotiations in the last 3 or 4 years with WWE that haven't been complimentary. Even guys who went to AEW were very complimentary of WWE and what they laid out and how they laid out and how they were treated during the process. So for us to hear that for years, to get to Karrion Kross, who we thought was a Triple H guy, to getting momentum, not getting on TV, working main event, still building momentum, getting himself over, getting huge pops when he's showing up on the Tron, getting big reactions when he finally does show up on television, had the number one selling t-shirt for a couple weeks on Shop. To have all that and then allegedly he's treated like that, that is the part where for me, it's like, okay, this doesn't make sense. And maybe this is a situation where the only two people know it's a work is Kross and Triple H. Maybe, so instead of Sean knowing Scarlett or Kross that way, maybe of course, his connect and WWE is like, dude, he's not on any sheets, man. Like, he's gone. There is no contract for him. He's not on any internal documents. He's not here. Maybe that could be it too. But for me, maybe then what this looks like is you just made now a special moment for Royal Rumble in 2026. Maybe this is what this is. If that match was announced in November at the Indie, so that already takes us 3 months away from here. If he works a couple more Indies up to that to throw people off the scent, when and if his music hits for the Rumble, and yes, it's in Saudi, so it's not going to hit the same like for us if you were able to go in the US. But if he's one of now those massive surprises, you just made him a massive surprise with doing nothing but allowing him to go out and make money outside of WWE and hoping he comes back a bigger star than when he left, because we'll start some of the rewind cross and we'll do it in a way where it looks organic. We'll start making comments. Maybe we say TikTok on commentary a couple times and that gets the internet talking and then putting things together. So for me, once again, that is what I would go with is, all right, we'll see him at the Rumble.
That's great. Or it could be the opposite. And Kross touched on it briefly with Ariel Helwani in their interview with the whole issue of that WrestleMania weekend and him going in there, putting on that performance. But from what it sounded like, H didn't really know, and H was mad about it. He kind of even said it. So if this is a work, they're doing a fantastic job.
But do we believe that? Do we believe that? Something that is great.
Hey,
for
which I was trying to get to. Let's step back and look at it with the history of what they've been doing with them and how they've been pushing them. Think about it from a logical standpoint. What have they been doing with him for the past 3 to 4 years he's been with the company? Like, right? Why now, in this moment, are they doing all of this to build to a Royal Rumble match with this guy they've suddenly used for the past 3 years? His wife, they haven't really used or done anything with, except she's been window dressing for a guy that they barely used for the past 3 years. Like, right? Unless like a light bulb that went off in Triple H's and creative's mind in the past couple months, like, you know what? God damn it. No, you've been sitting here for 3 years and we ain't done nothing with you. You know what? Let's create a work. Let's create a work and let's get the internet fans, rabid for you. So when at WrestleMania, Royal Rumble weekend, when you come out at 22, man, the roof is going to blow off. We're going to create a brand new star. I know we haven't done anything with you in 3 years. And we ain't done nothing with your wife. She barely talks. But, I'm glad you've been on the sidelines for this 3 years, but this is your moment, Kross. This right here, buddy, we are going to push the hell out of you. You're going to be the biggest star in history. Yeah. You think that's what they're doing backstage? I mean, that seems really like out of the ball field. Like something in between will make more sense. Like, right. Okay, cool. All right. We're going to sign you. We're going to push you. We're going to, do a thing, but to push it all the way to the Rumble for this guy, they haven't that seems very far-fetched to me. I ain't gonna lie to you. I hope it works out for the man. Because he's super talented. Super, super talented. His wife is beautiful. They belong on television. They should be in a prominent spot. Will he get it? Let's see. I hope so.
What else did I want to talk about from Raw? I had a couple things real quick. I just wanted to bring up. Number one, probably like my 2 favorite moments from Raw. One was Roman's pop that he got. This is just it blows my mind just how popular he is. He's him. That was one. I really enjoyed Bayley's week 2 promo more than week 1.
I forgot to wear my shirt.
Because I'm now it's starting to flesh itself out a little bit more of what the character looks like. I really enjoyed that. And then there was something else that I really thought was great. It was a moment on Raw. It was Roman. It was Bayley. Oh, Rhea Ripley. So if you guys don't know, a lot of people probably do, but it's probably a ton of people who do not.
I didn't.
So Philly, or not Philly, where were they last night?
No, I think it was Philly.
They were in Philly last night. Yeah, that's right. They're Philadelphia, of course. That's where she messed up her shoulder, had her separated shoulder. Her and Liv had the brawl. She had to go out for like a year. It was in that building. It was on the wall that had the 76ers logo on it. if you guys remember, because they showed it so many times. When Liv threw her into the wall, jacked her shoulder up. On Raw Monday, after they did the business in the ring, they come back, they cut the promo with the Kabuki Warriors and herself and Io. She walks away and she gives the wall a look.
Mm-hmm.
And then she walks. I thought that was tremendous. I'm like, that's the old WWE from like a year ago, year and a half ago that we would see that would just get us going. Those little small details. I thought it was absolutely chef's kiss. 10 out of 10. The rest of the show could have sucked. You gave me that moment, I'm locked in. Those are kind of just a couple moments from Raw that I wanted to highlight.
No, that was fire. Because I saw the same thing in her eyes. Like, it was like a delayed reaction. You make that face after you just had Asuka cuss you out in English and in Japanese. But then when you said, no, that was the same wall that she got thrown into and separated her shoulder. I'm like, oh my God, so clever. Followed by the way they brought the cameras into the arena. That was like, boom, boom, mic drop twice. Fantastic on that.
You got anything from Raw that we haven't hit on that you want to hit on before we talk about this WWE ESPN deal? I don't think we talked about this.
I don't even know what's happening with that.
No, I like the Bailey thing. You know, actually, this is a good time for her character right now that Naomi has to kind of step away. They can invest some more time into really fleshing out this character and seeing what it can do. That's the one thing, when I listen to Jimmy and Naomi talk, part of their conversation, they're talking about when she stepped away from WWE.
Yeah.
And, during this same time period, Jimmy was running heavy with the bloodline. He was like, man, I wasn't home a lot. Like, Naomi was dealing with what she was dealing with. She was home. I was running hot, because the show goes on with or without you.
Yeah.
Like, right. So that's the thing. She's going to be, come back. She's going to be better than ever. But in the meantime, it's going to allow others to step up and fill in those roles. And this is a good spot for Bailey to be in. So now they can really focus in and see what she can do.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a really good promos. They're invested in it. And yeah, Triple H said, right after WrestleMania, trust me, Bailey be fine. I get it. But if this turns out to be something fantastic, we'll look back at that and say he was right. So last week, I think this hit last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. These weeks are going together, but there was a deal struck between WWE and ESPN where now, starting next year, all WWE pay-per-views, PLEs will be on ESPN, the app for ESPN. But if you have ESPN on television, you don't have to pay anything else. They don't want people getting rid of their television subscription of just regular cable or satellite or whatever you have, YouTube TV, just to get the app. So if you have access to ESPN, you will get these pay-per-views or PLEs for free. If not, there's, I think, $34.99, I think it is a month or whatever it is. But big money deal, significant money deal. They had everybody on. So this was 2 weeks ago. They had everybody on ESPN. Roman was on there. Charlotte, they had just everybody, full court press. Comes out a few days ago. There was a rumor that the first ESPN show is going to be September 20th, which is a Saturday, which is next month, which ironically, unironically, is the same day as AEW All Out. And the rumored main event for this ESPN show is John Cena versus Brock Lesnar. The show is going to be called WrestlePalooza, and it's going to be in Indianapolis. So that stuff is basically confirmed. Word came out a couple days ago that this Wednesday, which if you listen to it on Wednesday probably. Shout out to y'all, day oneers. It'll be announced about the show. I don't think they're going to announce the main event at that time, but it's going to be on ESPN. Then Brian Alvarez came out and said, from what he's heard, the Peacock deal for the US is about up in terms of dates, and they can move over to ESPN much sooner rather than later, as if maybe after this show on September 20th, then all pay-per-views will be through ESPN. We don't have to get into the business aspect. We can talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. I just wanted to bring it up because I find it a little peculiar that, and maybe it's separate. Maybe this is hey, we're doing an ESPN thing. It's a good week without too much college football. We can get Pat McAfee involved because it is Indianapolis. Maybe it has nothing to do with AEW. But for me, it just seems a little peculiar that they feel like they would need to do John Cena versus Brock Lesnar opposite of All Out. You brought it up last week where you talked about you don't think that fan base is the same fan base that would order an AEW pay-per-view, or the fan base that orders the AEW pay-per-view would just watch the WWE show on tape delay on DVR, a day later or a night later. So I don't know what question I have for y'all, but just what do you guys think about the ESPN deal? What that looks like, what that comes with, if it is against AEW, just what's your thoughts?
I'll take the latter first. It's counter programming. Again, it's business. I'm okay with it because that's what they are going to do. I said it before, Triple H might be a little salty from losing when it was NXT versus Dynamite. So now that he has the book, the money, the machine behind him as the main card, hey, why not? And hey, why not put John Cena and Brock Lesnar on? I mean, that is, everybody wins, right? When everybody brings out their best. There's no monopolies, whatever on that. The first part of that is I don't understand what that meant. And I think that's why I purged it from my head. I did hear about this a few weeks ago. So you mentioning it's going to go over to ESPN. Like, we have ESPN on YouTube TV, but we do not have ESPN Plus. So would that mean we will be able to see their PLE on just regular ESPN?
Yeah,
or do we?
It'll be through the app. Yeah, so it's not Plus. So if you have access to ESPN, the actual just regular channel, you don't pay anything extra per month.
Oh, then that's pretty cool. That's really great. Actually, that's probably the best, I was going to say, kind thing they did for the general public so that they don't have to pay.
It's not about general public. Everything is about dollars and business.
Yeah, to
they
them,
are not thinking about
I'm talking about on the consumer side.
ESPN.
I'm talking about purely on the consumer
it's a whole
side.
situation.
I'm talking purely on the consumer side. I would imagine there's more households that have ESPN through their regular cable, but this could be a completely off-base comment right here because of the way that streaming has changed over the last few years. But I would think ESPN is in more homes than Netflix is. That's just what my thinking is.
No, Netflix is in more homes than, significantly more.
Well,
because everybody has Netflix. Everybody, either you have Netflix or you have access to Netflix. Everybody you don't know one person who don't have Netflix. There's a lot of people who don't have access to ESPN because they don't have a YouTube TV, a Direct TV, a Comcast. They only have their streaming channels now. Paramount, Peacock, Netflix, all those.
Yeah, I would say cable overall is declining, right? Streaming is up. People they buy the packages and the channels that they want to watch. I'll say for me, as soon as the switch happens, I'll probably drop in Peacock.
Same.
Like I had Peacock for free with Xfinity for a number of years. Then I had a deal where it was like $3. I got a discount because it was Xfinity. I believe they're still owned by the same company. Now I no longer get a discount. Now I'm paying, I think it's $8 or whatever it is. If I don't need to watch WWE, I'm probably dropping Peacock, save myself $8 a month. ESPN, I have access to it. It'll be fine. For me, because as far as like the pay-per-view stuff, I think I said my piece last week when we talked about it. But as far as like the actual deal, it just continues to amaze me, like what Nick Khan is doing on that business side. Like this guy, I don't know if he's directly responsible, right? But he's probably the leadership when it comes to like making these deals with the company. He is finding a way to continue to grow the business for that company. Like I don't know what they're paying him, like right, but it ain't enough because this man is finding more and more ways to put money in WWE and now TKO's pocket. It's like phenomenal, right? Because from what I understand is that they're getting, ESPN has bought this content, and they're paying WWE more than Peacock is, like right, for less content because they're not getting the vault, they're not getting the catalog of content from that Peacock has. So I think the speculation is that WWE is actually free to negotiate the vault content. and that may potentially go to YouTube or some other platform. So, this man has got these guys, getting more money for less, and then still able to get some money for something else down the road. I mean, them dudes is making money, which makes, like when you think about a Karrion Kross, where, he's claiming that, they offered him a deal and they said you got 24 hours to accept it not, right? like, dang, man. Like, so it sounds like y'all don't want me, number one. And, I think his thing, the reason why he didn't sign, he was like, well, the way he said it is like, I want to see how'd you come up to this? How'd you come up with this evaluation?
This number right here. How'd you come up with it?
So I guess the number didn't make sense to him, like, right? Or was it enough? And they're like, hey, don't worry about that. Sign it 24 hours. Like, right? Like,
we've also never heard a wrestler say they want to be somewhere where they're not wanted. We have, in all of our years watching wrestling, wrestlers have some of the biggest egos in the world.
Fair. That's
you
fair.
have never heard a wrestler
fair.
come on and be like, man, I really wanted to go to said company, but they didn't want me, and I still want to be there. He said numerous times in that interview, like, I still am hoping we can make this work. I still want to be there. What they are showing you right now, if you're telling us everything is on the up and up, they don't want you, and they don't want your wife. So then why would you even come out and say, I would be on my, like, you know what? I'm not going to trash them. I appreciate everything they've done for me. This is their loss.
Think about it this way again, right? Let's just talk about what we know, because again, I don't know if it's work or shoot. At this point, I kind of don't care, to be honest with you.
You said at this point, it's only been 2 weeks.
I don't even care.
It's only been 2 weeks, man.
Like
this point,
this work shoot stuff, I don't care about this kind of stuff, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? If he shows up on my TV, great, because I think he's going to show up on my TV in some type of way. He's too big of a talent. Somebody's going to get this man. Like, right? I'm surprised that AEW didn't sign on when he was available years ago. Like, right? I think that someone's not going to make that mistake now, especially with the momentum that he has. Somebody's going to sign this man. He's going to be on somebody's TV. He deserves to be, right? But I'm talking about just from, like, whatever this is doing, it's not for me. I'm going to be happy for him either way. But let's talk about what we do know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they ain't used the man that much over the past 3 years, right?
Yeah. What about the last year? The last year.
Not that much.
Would you say they've done enough? Would you say they've done enough in the last, let's go, have they done enough in the last 8 months to where you would think he should have been a priority to sign?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. So with that being said, I think he knows that too. But he likes the environment. Because let's say this. This is what I'm saying. We know. I don't think he's been used properly, right? But despite of that, he's probably treated with respect. Like, right? He probably goes to work. He gets paid well enough. He's living his dream. He has nice catering. You know what I'm saying? He likes his coworkers. I mean, he can enjoy the environment and being in the company.
Right?
Like, right? He can enjoy all the perks of being in the company, but still feel like, hey, I want more. But at the end of the day, he might have that hunger in his mind, like, yo, if I keep working, I can get where I want to be. Look at Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan's with the company for a really long time, but she put in the work, and look where she is now, right? She said she knew every day. It's like, look, I'm a star. I'm going to keep grinding. I'm going to keep figuring out. Took her a number of years to get to where she is, and now she's where she wants to be. Maybe carrying his mind is like, yo, if I keep working, I keep showing my worth, I'm going to be where I want to be. Like, right? But in the meantime, I'm happy where I'm at. It's feasible.
I just want to say that ESPN and Netflix have similar not availability, as far as viewers. It's similar in the United States. Where it changes is that Netflix have it in a lock. But for the States, they're pretty similar. They're actually, ESPN may have an edge. But outside of the United States, ESPN is like 5 million, where Netflix is like 30 to 40 million.
And you know what I thought about when I first heard this? WrestleMania on ESPN. Actual ESPN proper.
Woo.
We've been talking about that for a long time. Imagine that when they put it on regular ESPN, the ratings that's going to come out of that WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's a massive deal, man. Real quick, before I know you got something you want to talk about. Dwayne sent me a message, and it was a video of the most underrated wrestlers of all the times. Or excuse me, yeah, underrated. And it was kind of like the normal people who you would think would be considered underrated. I asked Dwayne for his top 3, and he gave me Shelton Benjamin, Dolph Ziggler, and Kurt Hennig, which I think is a fantastic list. So I sent it to you guys. I'm like, hey, let's touch on this on the pod. And I was having a hard time of underrated, because I don't know if I think anybody's underrated. Maybe, and this could be how they look at it. For me, the better question is underutilized, right? Like, even if you take Dwayne's list, Shelton Benjamin, everybody talks about how he's one of the best pure wrestlers ever. Like, he was better than Brock Lesnar. We all know he could go in the ring, cardio,
he's still doing it
stamina,
now.
all that, right? So I wouldn't call him underrated. I would say he's underutilized. Never won a championship. Really wasn't put in high profile spots because he couldn't talk, according to WWE. Look at Dolph Ziggler. Put everybody over. Made everybody look the best they possibly could look for years. His gimmick was losing. But everybody knows he was the next Shawn Michaels in regards to what he was doing in the ring. I don't consider that underrated. I believe he's underutilized. And then Mr. Perfect is one of the guys for sure. So, like, for me right now, if I had to look at and say underutilized, who would be on my list for underutilized? And I would go with let's just take, like, right now. Who's underutilized right now?
Karrion
I know I was
Kross.
giving him some shit when he was in NXT, but Carmelo Hayes is being underutilized right now on SmackDown, significantly, in my opinion. I think he's being underutilized. I think Natalya is being underutilized on Raw. I think she could be much more than what she is. Who else comes to mind when you guys think either underrated or underutilized?
Well, when the question came up about underrated, I had to look that up as far as what was that definition. And AI's definition was that something that is not valued or appreciated enough for its true worth or quality.
Oh, so, Karrion Kross.
I said that when you was talking. I said it should have been Karrion Kross. But the first person that came to my mind is not who I landed with. The first person that came to my mind, and is not recency bias, was Bayley. And so as I'm going through it, and I'm like, well, when I pull up, she's a Triple Crown champ. She's the first Grand Slam woman, all this other stuff, right? Or it's not the first Grand Slam, but she is a Grand Slam champion. She has won the championship many of times. Mm-hmm. I had to kind of leave from that, because although there's times where I think that she puts in good work and sometimes the crowd doesn't go there with her, that's probably just more of a personal feeling that I have about that. Factually, that's not. Then I was about to land somewhere with China, and I'm like, but you know what? I didn't watch China that much. I started watching China toward when she was in Latino Heat. So I'm like, so that's probably not truly fair for me to say either, because as of today, she's glorified as one of the first women wrestlers that would fight men. So that she has her accolades, her value there, or rated there. So I finally landed on, and I think I will always land on this person, was The Miz. And I feel like The Miz, yeah, he's won the championship maybe once or twice, but I just think that you give him anything and he will do it. And he will put his Miz spin on it. He can be ridiculed, made fun of, and do the same exact character tag team with different people, but still make it and as one, or as this is Miz. I think he's so underrated as far as what he brings into professional wrestling as entertainment. So I'm landing with The Miz, and I think probably going forward.
I like all of those things. I think Karrion Kross right now in WWE definitely should have been better utilized years ago. I think Malachi Black should be used a little stronger right now.
He's another one.
Carmelo Hayes, obviously, but I think some of the issues with Carmelo Hayes, some of the issues we had with him in the past, I think are creeping up right now. I think that, Mark Henry said the same thing, and I agreed. I feel like they need to build a package around him. Kind of like what they did with Seth Rollins when he originally broke out of the Shield. They gave him the, what was it? Was it R&R Security? S&, what was the
J&J.
security team? What was it? J&J Security. J&J Security. Like, you're right. Stuff like that kind of put like a, insulate him, to really make him shine, right? Like, I think that's, but in my mind, I wouldn't have a little more fun with the conversation when he mentioned Mr. Perfect, because I think it, like, the potential to be more than what they kind of were. Sheldon Benjamin, the potential, right? Big, strong, athletic guy. He won the IC championship a couple of times, but from a physical standpoint, the way he looked, you think like, damn, he should have been maybe an upper mid-card guy at some point. Like, why didn't he actually get to that level? Dolph Ziggler, for instance. I definitely agree with Dolph Ziggler. At one point, I looked at him as the next Shawn Michaels. I thought he was going to be that guy. He had, like, from a wrestling standpoint, great in the ring. From a look standpoint, there. I think for me personally, he's probably my biggest guy is Dolph Ziggler, because he was one of my guys. Cody, Dolph Ziggler were two of my guys where I'm like, yo, I expect big things from these guys in their career. Now, you look on paper, Dolph did accomplish a lot, but I think that he became like the loser, and I think he built like a stench to where I didn't believe that he can win the big match. Like, right, any feud he went into, I assumed he was losing. I assumed he's going to take the pin. I just didn't believe in him as a character. It didn't matter if he was face. It didn't matter if he was heel. He was a loser to me after a certain time. Like, they have broke him down to the point to where this guy, who I thought was the next Shawn Michaels, turned into a loser. And I always think about, like, what if he had left WWE, and did what Cody did?
He got himself out and came back, right?
Like, yeah, Cody was like, look, I'm more than the push that you're giving me right now. I'm going to leave and be who I feel that I am. Like, right? What if Dolph Ziggler did that back in 2017, 2018, right? And he stepped out and went to New Japan and ROH and kind of did the whole thing, rebuilt himself while he still was young, right? Maybe possibly went over to AEW, along with Moxley and, Chris Jericho, and been a big name. Can you imagine the matches that a younger, Dolph Ziggler could have with Kenny Omega before his body started breaking down, and all those guys wrestling that style, with the psychology that he had? Can you imagine the impact that he would have had in AEW with the freedom? Like, do you imagine what he could have done in 2019? Like, if he had stepped out of the WWE comfort zone, a long time ago, just think about where he would be right now.
It's crazy because he would, for me, he may go down as one of the biggest what if stories.
Exactly.
In pro wrestling. For me and my fandom, I was just like you, E, a massive Dolph Ziggler fan. Like, he was my guy at one point. Rhodesia can tell you. Like, out of everybody on the entire show, Dolph was my guy. So you can imagine how beat up we were when he lost every damn match he was in or every feud he was in. But what he could do in that ring and how he made his opponents look like $1 million. But in his offense was super believable and tight. And he could wrestle. Now we're talking, and he also can wrestle. Right? Like, true, legit wrestling.
Yep.
Man, like, he was one that we should be able to look back at, and this is not hyperbole, and say, oh, he was one of the greats in WWE. And unfortunately, because of how he was presented and his win-loss record, I don't think the majority of WWE fans appreciate Dolph Ziggler at the level that they should.
And in the sad, I'm going to go ahead and say the sad thing is, I want to say a couple of years ago when he still was in the company, I think he did a couple of interviews and he was like, look, there's a lot of people who feel like I should have done more, but I'm making money. Like, right, I'm making money. I've accomplished things. And so for him, he's like, hey, your opinion of my career doesn't matter. Like, right, because like, I'm respected by my peers. I'm making lots of money. I have accomplishments. I've done a lot with my career. So at the end of the day, it seems like he is satisfied. At the time, he was satisfied where his career has gone and his positioning within the company. Like, right? I kind of just feel like, as a fan of his at that time, I wish he was hungry for more. right? I wish he would have seen that he could be a major star in wrestling. Like, right? Sure, you're getting paid. Like, right? Sure, you got a couple accolades. But you look at where he's going to be viewed by the fan perspective. Like, right? You think about Dolph Ziggler, probably 10 years from now, he's going to be like one of those guys to where, you know, he's going to kind of fall out of history a little bit.
That's my point. That's exactly.
Right?
And that should never happen. That would be like, and somebody may think this is blasphemous. They may think this is blasphemous. To me, that would be like the 80s, late 80s, early 90s wrestling fans saying Bret Hart has fallen out of wrestling history.
Yeah.
That's how highly I think of Dolph Ziggler and what he should have been. I'm not talking about the Dolph Ziggler, what was the Dirty Dogs with him and Glorious Bobby Roode. I'm not talking about that dog. I'm talking about the Bleach Bond, I'm here to show the world Dolph Ziggler. Yeah. The one with Big E and AJ Lee Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah. Yep.
That is the Dolph Ziggler I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. The Dolph Ziggler that had the biggest pop that I have been a part of.
He started the shows every week.
Yes. That's the Dolph Ziggler I'm talking about. The cash in. Where he blew his voice out from screaming so loud. Yeah. And being in that building when he cashed in the night after WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah. That's
the
crazy.
Dolph Ziggler I'm talking about. And yes, ain't nobody thinking about that.
Because, you know, Rhodesia, we're talking about Chris Jericho earlier. We're like, you know, can he make an impact or not? Like, coming back at this age. It's no question if Chris Jericho were to come back at 50-something years old, pin drop. Like, it's not even the question of can you make an impact. The answer is hell to the no. Like, right?
That's crazy. Jeez, oh Pete.
I'm still saying with Miz, but yeah, I would say if I probably could also say, like, if you say that's not with WWE anymore, I probably would have to go with Dolph, because I felt the same way about that too with Dolph. I mean, and he was great. Like, I mean, he was your perfect wrestler. He just wasn't a big heavyweight, and that's that again. At that time, you have to prove me wrong, and he hopefully never have a chance to prove me wrong. I'm talking about Vince here. It was something about not being a super big guy that you weren't going to be put to that pedestal. And he was under the regime of Vince McMahon, and he didn't get there.
Who was his? Was he dating Amy Schumer? It was Amy Schumer, right?
Or some rumors about it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, it was. If that's her, then that was her. I know it was a female comedian, and he's also a comedian too. So that's probably another part. He was also doing his comedy thing. I'm sure he was like, I'm making a ton of money working. 2 nights, 3 nights, and I get to do my comedy thing too. Say less, I'm good. But he made a comment about when
he was complacent.
Yeah, for sure.
He was complacent.
He made a comment to Amy when they were dating, talking about wrestling, and he was like, "Yeah, my character is I lose every match."
Oh, sheesh.
And no, like literally, she was like, "But I don't get it." He's like, "Yeah, like that's my character. Is that any match you think I'm going to win, I just lose." He's like, "Well," and that came from like Vince McMahon. So like they knew that was his character. He wasn't saying it like tongue in cheek. He was like, "Yeah, I'm the guy that loses all his matches. That's my character."
Yeah, shame,
that's crazy.
Shame.
But that should be a character. At some
for sure. For sure. But
that shouldn't have been who he was.
Right, it should have been his character. Right.
Exactly. That shouldn't have been who he was. Not somebody who had to look. Not somebody who was that good in the ring.
Yes.
Like he had too many attributes of a superstar to be a guy who's a loser. Right. So now he's in TNA. To be honest with you, he was champion for a little bit. I looked at him. Still Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with his work in TNA.
You said you're not familiar with his game?
I'm not familiar with his game.
We got the Shaq going. I'm not familiar with the game.
What else y'all got?
I didn't even know he was in TNA.
Don't do that. TNA is about to take over number 2 promotion in the United States if WWE got anything to do with it. We'll say that for another week too. What y'all got? What else y'all want to talk about?
I'm hungry. Oh.
Let's just talk about let's write off on this one real quick. It kind of goes into the WWE business. We talked about TNA. Just real quick thoughts on this. It looks like TNA is potentially up for sale. Reports indicate that WWE may have the first option to buy the company.
Oh, here you go.
This potential sale is linked to a multi-year partnership between WWE and TNA, which includes a clause allowing WWE to purchase TNA, as well as match any other offers. So interesting, right? And with on the horns of that, Gail Kim who had a prominent role in the company for a long time.
She
And
underrated.
if you look at TNA, they've kind of gotten rid of a lot of the Gail Kims, the Scott Demores, a lot of people who are kind of had prominent roles and behind the scenes over time, bringing people in and certain people from their regime, etc. And so she had a comment. She said, "Seeing all the gossip about TNA, so would love you guys. So would you guys rather have TNA grow on a bigger platform with a WWE influence, or keep it smaller while retaining the heart of TNA?" To me, I'm like, man, look, if I'm gonna grow, I want to grow on a bigger scale, because how much can TNA grow? Like, right? They've been doing their own thing for the past, I want to say, 5 to 6 years, right? Scott Demore, when he was running the company, there was always reports that the quality of the television shows was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But when I would turn on the show, I really couldn't get past the production and the way the show looked. Like, right, in comparison,
We talked about that a lot before they went to Anthem.
In comparison to AEW, right? It's just the look and feel of the show just didn't match what my tastes have been kind of geared to watching these bigger promotions, right? Now, I know they have a smaller fan base overall, but I just feel like the companies didn't start growing until they got into the partnership with NXT and WWE. Like, right? So it seemed like the partnership is working. What say you guys? Are you guys? What do you think from TNA? Would you want to see it kind of stay independent and doing its own thing, or are you kind of interested in them being bought by WWE and growing with the company?
I believe the purpose of a business is to grow. So I would love for TNA, although I don't watch TNA, to do whatever is necessary to grow. If that means that they get bought by TKO Endeavor, so be it. I mean, 2 years ago, just under 2 years ago, when this whole thing happened and we found out that there was some kind of partnership with TNA in there, and I don't remember how, I'm like, well, it's only a matter of time. And then surely later we start seeing things with someone going over the NXT people going over there and all that stuff. If in their business model, everybody business model should be to grow. Now, there's a part where you can stop growing once you hit this growth number, but I don't think TNA is anywhere near that. So at this point, I want them to do whatever they can to get in more households, in front of more eyeballs. If y'all saying that the product is actually pretty darn good, get that on television, get that on something where people can actually digest it and ingest it. And when there's a lot of variety, everybody can win. So whatever that is, if it's even a thing for TKO wanting to buy them, they may not want to. And I don't know the business behind that. Why would you was it the cost, risk, benefit of doing it or not? I don't know that part of it. But whatever TKO can do to get in a position to grow their business bigger and get in front of more people, please do so.
So the answer for me is very simple. I want every wrestling business company to flourish. I don't care who you are, without a doubt. It makes the sport we all love bigger, more eyeballs. That's the answer. But it's a no if it comes at the cause of AEW. So the other part of this story is they are thinking about putting this is all alleged, this part of it. They're thinking about putting TNA up against AEW on Wednesday nights, opposed opposite of them. Allegedly, the word is Triple H and WWE does not want AEW to get another rights deal after this. I don't think that's true, because if that was the case, then they would be putting major pay-per-views up against AEW. They would then, there's just things that would happen for that to be the case. I don't think that's the case.
You said they'd be putting major pay-per-views up against AEW?
Correct. So we'll see what this September 20th thing look like, right? Right? But you know what I'm saying? Like, instead of just putting NXT up against it, it would be up against, SummerSlam and that kind of stuff. Now, maybe it's the dates wouldn't match up. Like, they already know their dates for SummerSlam next year, Rumble next year, things of that nature. I get that part. But for me, like, if it's at the mercy of AEW, I don't want it to happen. Somebody could say, yeah, Matt, but AEW was talking cash shit when they were winning about competition and et cetera, et cetera. I get that too.
Yep.
But AEW was never at a point of putting WWE out of business. And WWE is not going to put AEW out of business. I'm not saying that. But if this entire move is just to harm something else, that is what I'm not down for. I am down for TNA growing. I didn't watch TNA like you did, back in the day. So to Gail Kim's point, I don't know the heart and soul of TNA. I know it, but it doesn't hit me the same, right? Like the same way we all know the heart and soul of AEW.
Right.
We all know the heart and soul of WWE.
NXT. Mm-hmm.
When AJ went back to Slammiversary a couple months ago or a month ago, whenever that was, I thought it was a cool moment. It meant nothing to me. I didn't watch like that back in the day. If I did, I'd be like, oh, this is great. I don't care who's running anymore. Point is, he's in the Impact Zone. He's in TNA. This is the best thing ever. It didn't hit me that way. So for me, yes, I want them to grow. But I also want to make sure that AEW is growing the way they need to. I want them to be. I want all of them to grow overall. And if we get that, fantastic. If not, then no, I don't want it. Because that's what people are saying. People are saying legit, oh, this is just WWE's play to buy TNA, put them up against AEW, and then try to harm AEW and put them out of business. Once again, they're not going out of business. But they could do some harm, right? They could. There's nothing stopping TNA to set up, or WWE, if they buy TNA, to set up their rights deal to, let's just say, to come up 6 months earlier than what AEW's rights deals are coming up. Oh, and then because we already got ESPN, we got Netflix, we got USA, right? So that whole umbrella and everything and that comes with, hey, go shop TNA over at there and shop them over there. Maybe shop them over here. And by this time, we can say, hey, we got the WWE influence behind us. Anytime you want one of our major stars on the show, we can do it just like that. Let's see what that money looks like. And let's see what that deal looks like. That is what I personally wouldn't want to see.
The soul of Vince still lives.
But
Buying up all the businesses, all the companies, all the territories.
That's exactly what's happening. They already got AAA. I mean, AAA.
That's right, AAA.
I think I said it correctly, but in my mind I started saying something else. But yeah, they already got them, right? And it makes sense. Like
doing big numbers,
You know, NXT is actually, you know, their ratings average higher than what Dynamite is getting on average right now. On CW, right?
CW got
definitely see.
Boy, they hit a lick, didn't they?
You could definitely see TNA, like, right, being under that umbrella, having that influence behind them. All right, going to maybe Peacock or another show, and again, getting that visibility. And, you know, again, maybe Karrion Kross goes to TNA.
Yeah.
Like, right, maybe this could be all a ploy to get him there, and now that's his show, and he's doing big things on that show. But as you said, like, right, okay, ESPN, you know, let's say TNA lands on ESPN 3, like, right, Karrion Kross' show. At any moment, you can see Seth Rollins and The Vision roll up on the show, right, to hype that show up, right? And I think, look, and maybe we could get another Wednesday Night Wars. I think that'd be phenomenal. AEW versus NXT, for me, was a joy. I love the Wednesday Night Wars. Like, right, I watched both of them.
Yeah.
BOFF, I watched both of them. And it was great. Matt and I going back and forth in text, watching the shows.
Yeah.
It was a great time, right? Maybe they can rekindle that. I just don't think that it's very interesting what WWE's doing with this AEW war it seems like they're trying to have. Because I just don't think that the diehard AEW fans are going to all of a sudden jump to TNA out of nowhere. If you think about what the ratings that they have been getting up until this point on these shows, it's like, you know, 200,000 people. Maybe 350,000, I think, maybe even less than that have been watching those shows. Like, right? I just don't see like the AEW guys all of a sudden jumping ship to go watch TNA just because it's on.
Headlines, baby. We talked about that last week. I tell you, that's what I think the game is. It's the headline game. And I do want to shout out AAA. This last weekend, I didn't get to see anything but outside of clips. I was watching UFC Saturday night, but WWE touted how successful it was. And I saw people complaining online about the amount of people who were watching and enjoying AAA because they're new to AAA. Hey, geniuses, the point of something big, buying something, is to make it bigger. So, of course, it's maybe their first time They should just be happy that people are
Wait,
enjoying.
I'm missing
the
this.
idea.
What do you mean? What do you?
That
again,
is so
what-
wild to me.
What
Gatekeeping. They're gatekeeping.
Oh, my
you guys
God.
weren't watching this until WWE got involved.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's kind of how business works. Maybe if I didn't know about it, and now I
You
see
guys
it.
were with me when I was shooting in the gym.
Exactly right. So shout out to them. AEW.
we ain't shouting them out. Oh, you mean you shout out to AAA? Okay, I thought you were shouting out those
He
people.
said,
I'm
"We
saying,
ain't shouting them
we
out."
ain't shouting those people
No,
out.
Forbidden Doors this Sunday. I think they've done
Forbidden Wall
18,000 or
Might be my
17,000
favorite. My favorite show.
seats, which is great. They got some matches on there. I gotta watch it. I'm excited to watch it. It's in London, so it's like a noon start, which I didn't know. So I got to figure out my schedule for Sunday because I do want to there's a few matches on here. Adam Page versus MJF. I'm locked in on that. Okada versus Swerve. I'm locked in on that. I think Tony Storm and Athena is going to be great. They got a 4-way women's match that I think is going to be really good with Mercedes and Alex Windsor. Alex Windsor is Will Ospreay's wife. She's good. That's really the first time I've been kind of seeing her work kind of on a consistent basis. She's pretty good. There's a couple matches I don't care about, of course. Don't care too much about.
But could you imagine her not being good? Like, he
course I
would not
can.
let that happen. Well, I'm saying I don't think that a wrestler to his caliber could have a partner who's in the business that he wouldn't try to even help her.
I mean,
and it was
that ain't
vice
got nothing to
versa.
do with what she doing in the bedroom, though. I mean,
There you go.
I'm talking about
There we go.
You know,
You
her
was already
moving
talking
that
about-
thing,
whatever.
you were talking about
That ain't
Forbidden
got
Wall.
nothing-
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Use
know,
our
like,
jam.
I
Talk
think
about the
between
Forbidden
Forbidden Wall
Walls,
and
baby.
Armageddon,
Seems
I
like she
think
got
those are
one on
my
her, too.
favorite. You know
Yes.
what?
Oh.
We are not talking about another man's wife,
Oh, my bad. You're right.
especially
And then,
when your wife is on the show.
You're right. My bad. My bad. Tap, tap. And then they got the lights out match, which I'm excited for because I just think they're going to do some ridiculous, stupid stuff. Cage match. So there's some good stuff on there. But shout out to AEW. They're doing good stuff, man. So right now, business healthy across the business. And that's all we care about. That's all we want is give us good TV. We'll support. You don't give us good TV, we ain't supporting.
What time this show start on Sunday?
Noon. Well, 1 o'clock your time. Noon Central.
See that? You know what?
You say you watch it.
AEW, Tony Khan, I can do that. I can do that. Don't start these shows on Sundays. Not Sunday, not
Sundays.
Sunday.
Sundays.
You know,
Well,
don't
every
start
Saturday
no
now,
7
NFL
no-
season, baby. We
What-
Saturdays now until probably January or February.
What, AEW?
Yeah.
Why he sound
Okay.
like that? He's like, what? Wait, for real?
He's not even thinking about how you got to rechange the schedule. You see, he's like, oh, shit. There's more? He said,
Hey,
shit.
we're talking about this on another podcast, though, but I just started watching Paradise last night. I'm in, baby.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Matt, stop watching it. I'm
what
there. I
episode
want to
you
finish watching it.
I'm on episode 1, baby.
Okay.
Oh,
That's all,
All right.
that's all I can get.
When
But
you
I'm
get
hooked.
to,
I'm hooked.
where was I at, about 3 or 4?
We're the end of 3.
Okay. When you get to a watch, so watch 2 more. Let's bring this back next week. Because I know it's a popular show, so a lot of our listeners and watchers probably watch too. It lost me a little bit around that. I haven't picked it back up, so it could catch me back again.
What streaming service is that on? So I can go watch it by
Apple
myself.
TV,
Hulu.
right? Oh, I'm sorry, Hulu.
No,
Yep,
Hulu.
yep,
Oh, we
Hulu.
don't think we have
So if
Hulu.
you
We do have Hulu.
yeah, so if
Okay.
you have well, you know, Disney.
Yeah,
That's
we
what I
got
watch.
Hulu.
I watch it through.
We have every streaming service except
Oh.
for Paramount Plus right now.
And fuck,
I got Paramount Plus for the kids. I was like, yo, I gotta get rid of this streaming site. And nobody watches the kids. No, we watch it all the time. I ain't never seen y'all ever watch something on Paramount Plus.
What they watch?
They
Shopping
watch
this thing.
Tulsa.
Nothing.
They watch Tulsa.
Also, they just said it.
Yeah. No, we
Tulsa.
watch it all the time.
We
Like,
watch
man, look,
Tulsa.
you doing-
Kids
outta
watching
here.
Tulsa is nuts. That was an incredible show. Can you imagine me being locked in to Sylvester Stallone?
Matter of fact, I'm canceling Paramount Plus right now, man.
You should have everything about them.
That's hilarious. Rhodesia got a problem with kids.
No,
She does.
No, I'm talking about what Paramount is what I have a problem with.
So they got a show on there. Oh, okay, that's right.
yeah,
They're-
SpongeBob, I think.
Yeah, SpongeBob is on there.
Mhm.
Show called, or it's a movie called Novocaine.
That's not for
I
kids. I don't
remember when it
think.
came out. Yeah, no, like
watch it.
live sports, which is CBS. Yeah, and this is just like this is their screen to get me to sign in. To like, no, you had a chance.
Paramount.
No, thank you. You had your chance. All right, we about done. And I had a few more things we'll leave it for next time. But I had I saw Mandy Rose talking about there was a herpes breakout in NXT. I want to get to that.
I'm happy it was just herpes.
I want to get to that. The Hollywood Reporter ranked the top 10 wrestlers turned actors. I wanted to look
saw
at that
that.
list and talk about that list.
Mhm.
So we'll both those two things to next week.
Cool. I'll write that down.
Thank you. All right, y'all. We out, man. What else? I think that's it.
The socials.
Yeah. Well, y'all know where we are. That's F&W. That's Freakin' Wrestling everywhere. So if That's Freakin' Wrestling doesn't pull up, that's F&W should. That is how we're just going to talk about our socials going forward.
Cancel.
He did it.
Cancel what?
He canceled Paramount.
Oh.
He said he wasn't playing. He is
Love
done.
it.
And we
Love
done.
it.
Love y'all, man. We out.